Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome here as we get set for our 33rd race of the season. It is our first race of the third round of the playoffs, and it is, of course, the beginning of the round of 8. This is the final round that's going to determine our final 4 to compete for the championship at Homestead, Miami in 4 weeks. And this one's going to be one of our slightly longer races of the season as well, so certainly will set us up into the upcoming weeks of Armory Digital Super Speedway, which is making its debut on the schedule, and then our final elimination race at Rockingham. As we get ready for the Boston Baked Beans 300, on the pole position for this race, one of 4 drivers that was eliminated after last week's event at Arizona Speedway. Levi McIntyre lining up on the pole position. Levi, this I believe is his first pole of the year as well, but obviously comes at a tough time for him as he had made the playoffs for the first time in his career and got eliminated last week. Levi was caught up in a wreck at Arizona and subsequently could not make up enough points to get into the Elite 8. The other drivers that also were eliminated along with him included Johnny Gardner, Carter Friesen, and Benjamin Miles. And we should mention Johnny Gardner missed out on making it into the round of 8 by 1 point. So very tough break there for Gardner, the former winner from Dover. So 8 drivers remain in the hunt for this championship. Those drivers include 2-time winners Carson Gum, Cole Baker, Michael Norman, and Cody Lamas, as well as 1-time winners Dylan Young, Ryan Acosta, Zach Rogers, and Ryan Brommer. Brommer was the driver that by 1 point displaced out Johnny Gardner when Brommer finished 4th last week and Gardner finished 22nd or 21st. The two of them were separated by 16 points going into that race, and that 1 extra point was all Brommer needed to advance into the next round. So both of our Dodge Challenger drivers out of Bulldog Motorsports still in the hunt, as well as our only rookie to make the playoffs, Cody Lamas. So we could have a very interesting Final 4 going into Homestead, Miami, and of course the same rule applies here in this round as has applied in the previous 2 rounds. If any of our 8 remaining playoff contenders go to victory lane either here today or in the next 2 weeks, they have an automatic ticket to battle for the championship in the Final 4 at Homestead Miami Speedway at the end of the season. Without further ado, though, let's go down trackside and get those most famous words in motorsports.
Drivers, start your engines.
Half expected for the command to have a Boston accent, but nope, not the case. McIntyre and Adam Garcia, a Ford Mustang front row for this one. Levi looking for his 2nd career win. Adam Garcia still looking for his first. As you can see on the right side of your screen, your starting lineup for today's event. Highest starting playoff contenders going to be the rookie Cody Lamas, rolling off from the 3rd position. Alongside of Kev Shearer, who is back in the 25 this week. Kev ran the 25 car back at Hillside. Did not finish particularly well, but looking for a good run here today. So who is going to have themselves in a good situation heading into a wild card race at Armory Digital next week? And who's going to go to victory lane here today as the green flag's in the air and we're racing at Boston? Well, we saw at the end of round 1, Matt McIntyre got eliminated from the playoffs. He went on the following week without the lithium blue chase banners to take the checkered flag at Hillside. So Levi McIntyre hoping he can do the same here this week at Boston as he goes way up the racetrack there. And Chris Dallerton's going to make a challenge for the race lead from Cody. Cody got the lap led, so he gets that bonus point. Dylan Young there in the Wawa Ford Mustang. It's kind of ironic. If people know Dylan Young and Kev Shearer, they will know the Sheets versus Wawa feud that they have. And in the 2 races that Kev Shearer has run in now, Hillside and here at Boston, Dylan Young has run the Wawa scheme. Coincidence? I think not. As the battle is now on for the lead, defending champion Chris Dallerton on the top side, Dylan Young on the bottom. Kev Shearer right there in the 25. Is he going to help push Dylan Young to the lead, or is he going to take the Wawa machine 3 wide? He's going to dive down low on Dylan Young and try and take the race lead. This is the 7th race of the program that Backmarker Motorsports has had, with having a different driver in the 25 car here during the playoffs. Best finish so far that the 25 team has had during the playoffs was 8th place a couple of weeks ago with Sean Galligan at Lime Rock. Everybody else that's driven the 25 has seemed to struggle. Corey Williams had some issues at both Coca-Cola Night in Indianapolis. Sean Galligan got into multiple wrecks at at Charlotte Roval. James Shelley started on the pole last week at Arizona, but he got caught up in an early wreck on lap 1, and Kev Shearer, as we mentioned, did not have the best of luck a few weeks ago at Hillside. But out in front leading right now is Dylan Young, trying to get 2nd place away from Chris Dollerton. Got a battle for the 5th spot. Last week's winner, Jose Mills, now a 2-time winner this season. Picked up his 6th career Duracell Cup Series victory last week. And I was actually looking back through the export of last week, and it was really interesting to me because the race was really dominated by Ryan Butcher. Jose Mills only led the last 3 laps en route to that victory. There's the guy that pulled the shot clock cheese last week, Ryan Brommer. Worked his way from 8th up to 4th in the final 3 laps to get Johnny Gardner by 1 point to advance into the round of 8. Gardner got eliminated, and right now Brommer up there inside the top 10, trying to use that outside line as he's currently in the 9th position. Mitchell Collins closing in on him for that spot. Drop a little bit further back, last week's runner-up Ryan Butcher in a tussle with playoff contender Michael Norman. That's for 18th. They were almost 4 wide behind them. Oh, and they're going to have a wreck. That's Derek Hamill around off the nose of Johnny Gardner. He's going to come back up the track here in turn 1, and everybody avoided him. Somehow, everyone avoided him. And I don't think the caution is out for that. No, it is not. Wow, we dodged a bullet there, let me tell you. Hamill was coming right back up the track into traffic in turn 4. I thought that was turn 1, but that was actually turn 4. Somehow, everybody was ahead of him by the time he got up into the entrance of that corner, and there is no yellow flag for that. Hamill doesn't really appear to have much damage either. He may have flat spotted the tires, but he's still running. There's Carter Friesen in the 37. Runner-up finisher for the championship last year. Got eliminated from the playoffs last week. A couple of playoff contenders back here struggling. Cole Baker right now in 33rd. Actually, I think he's in 35th. As Carson Gum, I believe, is in 34th. Ticker to update. Nope, actually Carson's 35th and Cole Baker's 36th. Zach Rogers, this could be considered a home track for him. Right now he's only up to 33rd place. There's a couple of drivers that got eliminated from the playoffs last week. Johnny Gardner in the 14, Benjamin Miles in the 33. Michael Norman trying to work his way up there towards the front, right now in 22nd. He just took that spot away from the 77, and we were going to talk about, before we saw that spin by Derek Hamill, Ryan Acosta. Ryan headed into last week's race at Arizona in that critical 8th position in points and managed to make his way into the next round. You know, it was interesting looking at the field we had at the beginning of the season as far as teams that had made it into the playoffs. You had both the Bulldog Motorsports Dodges. You had 3 Michael Norman Motorsports Toyota Camrys. You had 2 of the Joanna Atwood Motorsports Camrys. And now in our Elite 8, only 1 of the Joanna Atwood Motorsports Camrys are in there. Only 2 of the Michael Norman Motorsports Camrys are in there. You still have both the Bulldog Motorsports cars. You've got a Young Motorsports Ford. You've got a Backmarker Motorsports Chevrolet. You got a Team Chevy Autosports Chevrolet in your Elite 8. Good tussle here for the lead between Wyatt Quayle and Kev Shearer. Wyatt Quayle trying to get his 2nd win of the season. He won earlier on this year at Las Vegas. Las Vegas is 1.5 miles in length. Boston is only a mile, I believe. Quayle's going to take the top spot back again. You got a couple of Mustangs riding in third and fourth. That's literally what they're doing right now, is riding. They haven't really been battling amongst each other. They've just kind of been watching the battle going on up ahead of them between Shearer and Quayle. Dollerton in third, and right now Dylan Young just trying to be consistent. Might have been a little contact there as he kind of forced Dollerton out of the way, so he'll now move into second place. Dollerton really having to lift to avoid brushing the wall out of turn 2. Now he'll lose touch with Dylan Young. The dogfight really now is going on for 5th place on back. There's Jesse Turner, Sebastian Kukulon, Ryan Butcher, last week's runner-up, who was not happy with the slower lap traffic last week. A number of drivers held him up, eventually lost him the lead and the win to Jose Mills. Ryan Butcher looking to come back from that. Jesse Turner with a good run right now, too. Turner, after getting eliminated from the playoffs in round 1, his finishes last couple of weeks have really been not anything to smile about. He ended up going up in the air off the hill at Lime Rock a couple of weeks ago, and then he also had a completely mangled Ford last week after getting caught up in a wreck at Arizona. Right now, though, up inside the top 5 in that 5th position. As Kev Shearer leads the way now over Wyatt Quayle. Quayle's going to try and take the lead back. One battle that we have not talked about for the last couple of weeks, and it's kind of been on purpose too, has been the rookie points battle. 3 weeks ago, it was actually a really good points battle. As a matter of fact, at one point, Cody Lamas and Sebastian Kukulon, they were tied for the rookie points lead. But now, in the last couple of weeks, Cody Lamas has put together good enough finishes. He now has a 4-point gap back to Sebastian Kukulon. Marcus Sachi, who took his first checkered flag 3 weeks ago, is right now 3rd in points, and he's a total of 12 points back. So there's not really a rookie points battle going on right now, and I thought how it was looking, I mean, Lamas, Kukulon, Nanako, Sachi, they were all really close to each other about 6-7 weeks ago, and I thought we were going to have a down-to-the-wire battle for the Rookie Points Championship going into Homestead. But as things stand right now, unless Cody Lamas goes on a streak of really poor finishes, looks like Cody may have that Rookie of the Year Honors award all wrapped up. I'll tell you what I've been really impressed with is Kev Shearer and Wyatt Quayle. They've been battling each other, but they've also been gapping themselves back to 3rd place Dylan Young, which really is surprising. I guess that's how the CTS physics work here. One thing I know about Boston, too, as a matter of fact, this 3rd round really is going to separate the top 4 from the 4 that aren't going to make it, because in terms of the tracks that we're at, both Boston and Rockingham that we're going to in 2 weeks, it's all about tire conservation. These are tire-killing racetracks here in this round. And we're going to have to see just exactly who's going to be the cream of the crop, who's going to rise to the top and make it into the Final 4. Caution is out for the first time today, just a third of the way through this race. First yellow flag, not our first incident of the day. Our first incident was Derek Hamill's spin, but that didn't bring out the yellow. Looks like we had another spin in the back straightaway, and this one involved Johnny Gardner, and playoff contender Cole Baker was involved. Cole Baker, the only driver to win a playoff race this season, advanced into the round of 12, advanced into the round of 8, and he's out of the race already. That is huge. Now, this does not take him out of the playoffs completely. Remember, he's got 2 more races to work with at Armory Digital next week and Rockingham the following week, but this is certainly going to put him behind the proverbial 8 ball here to start out the round of 8. Johnny Gardner, who just got eliminated from the playoffs last week, involved as well. As pit stops go on here. These drivers with 26 laps on their tires, probably screaming at their crew chiefs, "Give me rubber." We'll watch this battle off pit road between Wyatt Quayle and Kev Shearer, and teammates get together. Qualls got into his teammate Wyatt Quayle, and Quayle's got right side damage now. Don't know how that's going to affect him. Dylan Young trying to beat Wyatt Quayle off of pit lane. Kev Shearer's going to beat them both. Kev Shearer is going to come off pit road the leader. Dylan Young second. Quayle with damage now on the right side in third, with Dollerton and Mitchell Collins, your top 5. We're going to have to keep an eye on that 41 car on this restart, see if he'll be up to speed, because that was a pretty good shot into the passenger side door, as Kev Shearer will lead us back for the green when we come back for the restart. For now, we're going to see what brought out this caution here at Boston. Looks like a couple of teammates get together here. This is going to be into turn 1, then out of the exit of 2 and onto the back straightaway. There you see Benjamin Miles got up the racetrack. William Brock almost got into him. And then Benjamin Miles, I think he thought he was clear to come down behind the 88, but Casey Nanico was to his left rear quarter panel. That hooks Miles down into William Brock. Brock goes for a spin. Nowhere for Johnny Gardner to go. Gardner's going to go spinning, and this is what we saw happen with Derek Hamill. Nobody hit Hamill, though. Gardner comes back up the track, and there's just absolutely nowhere for Cole Baker in the 11 car to go. There's just no time to react. And you can just see the whole front end of that Camaro crunched up. Boy, wrong place, wrong time for the Arizona Ice-T Chevrolet of Cole Baker. And like I said, this is definitely going to put him into a bit of a divot to have to try and work his way out of in the next 2 weeks if he's going to advance into the Final Four to compete for the championship, as he's already taken his car back behind the wall. So that's what brings out the caution for the first time here today at Boston. Let's go back for the green. Green flag set to come back out, as we have only one driver out of the race after the incident we just saw, that being Cole Baker, so he will finish dead last. However, let's not forget, finishing dead last does not mean you're not going to advance, because Ryan Brommer finished dead last at the first race of round 2 at Hillside, and by 1 point, he made it into the round of 8. So it is not over until it's over. Kev Shearer won the battle off pit road. He'll restart the leader over playoff contender Dylan Young. Wyatt Quayle, remember he's got that right side damage, but he'll restart third. Chris Dallerton fourth. Mitchell Collins fifth. Rest of your top 10 are Trey Wright. Playoff contender Ryan Acosta now up in the 7th spot with Matt Haas, Sebastian Kukulon, and Jesse Turner, your top 10. Where are the remainder of the other 5 playoff contenders restarting? Ryan Brommer will restart in 12th. Carson Gumm in 17th. Cody Lamas, 21st. Michael Norman back in 27th. Zach Rogers in 28th. And I believe that is it for the playoff contenders. Cole Baker, as we mentioned, out of the race in the 40th position. And I believe, well, they had Johnny Gardner scored 1 lap down, but I guess he is still running on the lead lap as a battle for the lead is on. Dylan Young going to take the spot away. Those fresh tires. Dylan Young deciding it's time to make moves. He'll go to the race lead. Remember, Dylan Young, if he wins here today, he would go into Armory Digital. He would go into Rockingham knowing he's going to Homestead to compete for the championship. But right now, he's going way up the racetrack. He's going to lose a number of spots as a result. Wyatt Quayle going to go back to the point. Looks like that right side damage he had with contact with Qualls on pit road is not affecting him. And Chris Dallerton just trying to finish out the season with a win. He knows he will not be defending his championship title, but he'd love another trip to victory lane here in his career. A driver that comes into this race 36th in points. Finished dead last in last week's race at Arizona and dropped 5 spots in the standings as a result. How about Ryan Acosta? Ryan Acosta also would love to make his way into the Final Four with a win here today. 3 wide with Mitchell Collins and Wyatt Quayle. That now settles back out to double wide as you got a couple of other playoff contenders back there looming. Ryan Brommer in the 9. Coming off that momentum, the top 5 run last week, 4th place at Arizona to advance into the round of 8. Would love to go back-to-back weeks with advancing into the next round as Ryan Acosta looking for the race lead on Chris Dallerton. At this point, I believe the only playoff contender that has led a lap, or no, there have been 2 playoff contenders that have led a lap at this point. Cody Lamas led a lap, and so did Dylan Young. Ryan Acosta is going to become the 3rd to get the lap-led bonus point. Matt Haas right behind him, our winner from Chicago Motor Speedway, a track that, in all honesty, is somewhat similar in style to this track, so not a surprise to see Matt Haas running well there. Let's drop back, see if any other playoff contenders are making their way to the front. It's Kev Shearer, who was out in front early, now almost drifting outside of the top 10. Got to go a ways back before you find Cody Lamas and Carson Gumm. Cody last time by crossed in 18th, Carson Gumm in 20th. They're both on that inside line, though, trying to make up some ground. Zach Rogers still back here struggling as he's in the 25th position. Michael Norman has faded way back now. He's back in 31st and about to lose more spots as he's way up high there out of turn 4. Almost into the wall, and we almost had a wreck right there between Adam Garcia and Casey Nanico, it looked like. There's Gardner off the pace as Jesse Turner just took the lead. Charles Sanford, it's the second time. Oh, we got a wreck! Someone just spun! That's Carter Friesen off the nose of Adam Garcia, and he gets Michael Norman! Up and over, and into the catch fence goes Carter Friesen! And Michael Norman, another playoff contender, was involved. Big wreck there into turn 3. Second time we've seen a hard hit in that corner. And the caution is out for the second time here today at Boston. And for the second time, a non-playoff driver sweeps up the track and collects a playoff driver. This time it was Friesen who went for the spin, and it was Norman that clobbered him. And yet another playoff contender is going to find himself in a bit of a predicament heading into our next 2 playoff races as everybody comes back to pit road. Nobody is going to risk it and stay out on old tires. They only ran about maybe 8 laps that run, but everybody still wanted to come to pit lane. Going to be a little curious about that 41 of Wyatt Quayle if they're going to have an extended stay on pit road and maybe try and repair that right side damage. It didn't really affect him. Nope, they're going to keep it exactly the way it is. They didn't even bother to fix the right side. And I can't really say I blame them because that car still seemed up to speed, still seemed to be running perfectly well. Got an issue with Jack Mitchell there on pit road trying to get onto pit lane. I think he just overshot his pit box. I don't know if he had contact with somebody. As off pit lane, it looks like the leader is going to be Jesse Turner. No, it is going to be the 8 of Matt Haas over Ryan Acosta. So Matt Haas came to pit road second. Comes off pit road the race leader. Then it's Acosta and Turner to get us back green. But for now, let's go back and see what happened. Hard impact over in turn 3 for our second caution of the day. Here it is. Tight battle 3 wide going into turn 1. Carter Friesen drifting up the track there. Zach Rogers making sure to give him room. And then Friesen, I don't know if he comes back down or if Garcia goes up. Just looks like maybe a combination of both. End result is Adam Garcia into Friesen's left rear quarter panel. And then watch this. Carter Friesen, first off, hard impact driver's side into that safer barrier. Thank goodness there's a safer barrier there. And then watch this shot from Michael Norman right there. Lifts the rear end of the car up. Norman hard head on into the outside retaining wall. And look at Friesen up and into the chain link catch fence there above the safer barrier. That catch fence wasn't there. The 37 would have been out of the bounds of the racetrack. And that is a wild ride for Carter Friesen. So the past 2 weeks have not been kind to him. Last week caught up in a wreck and eliminated from the playoffs, and this week visiting all 3-4 levels of the catch fence up in turn 3. And obviously that's going to be a tough break for Michael Norman in the 18 as well. We talked about Cole Baker with a DNF going to have a little bit of a situation going into our next 2 playoff races. Well, Michael Norman will have exactly the same situation to have to deal with, as he will undoubtedly be out of this race as well. 1 to green set to be given here. We'll go green on lap 42 of 75. After the incident we just saw, both Carter Friesen and Michael Norman are out of the race. So Norman and Baker, 2 playoff contenders, finished 39th and 40th here today. And the ironic thing is both of them were the drivers swept up in the wreck, not the drivers that started the wreck. Kyle Matthews and Jack Mitchell, they are both 1 lap down. Both had extended stays on pit road. They both missed their pit stalls. Kyle Matthews made contact with Ryan Brommer. Jack Mitchell made contact with Sebastian Kukulon. So they are both trapped 1 lap down. I don't even know if they're back on track yet or not. So 35 cars still on the lead lap of 37 that are still running. And Matt Haas getting ready to get us back underway over Ryan Acosta, Jesse Turner, Chris Dollerton, and Ryan Brommer. Right now, we've only got 2 of our playoff contenders up inside the top 10 for this restart. So Toyota, Ford, then Dodge and Chevy, your top 6, as Jesse Turner lost the lead on pit road, now trying to get it back on track. as he will challenge Ryan Acosta for the second position. Let's follow up about Kyle Matthews and Jack Mitchell. There is Mitchell. He's returned back to the track, as has Kyle Matthews. They are both, I believe, officially 1 lap down. Yes, they are. It's a tough break for both of them. As Ryan Acosta is not going to give up that second spot. He's back to the inside of Jesse Turner. Sebastian Kukulon a little wide through that corner as he almost got the wall. And now a couple of playoff contenders will battle for third. Ryan Brommer and Ryan Acosta. Who's the better Ryan right now? Just ahead of them, battle for the lead. Lead change. Jesse Turner goes back to the point. Get Matt Haas way up there in that third groove trying to get the better straightaway speed. But there's not a whole lot of grip up there, and you especially lose ground in the center of the corner trying to run that line. Is now Ryan Brommer trying to be the fourth playoff contender to lead a lap today, joining Dylan Young, Ryan Acosta, and Cody Lamas. Looks like he will succeed in that. And how about this? We talked about Ryan Butcher looking for some revenge from losing last week. Here he is, up here inside the top 5. Dylan Young making his way back up to the front. He's got teammate Mitchell Collins right behind him. And the car that beat Ryan Butcher last week is right behind him. The 98 of Jose Mills. Butcher gonna try and get back to the throttle here in turn 4. He will. Ooh, little contact there between Dylan Young and Ryan Acosta. Couple of playoff contenders. Another playoff contender is about to crack the top 10 again. That's Cody Lamas. Started this race from third, kind of faded back. He's now up to the 15th position. Carson Gum right there with him as well. So don't count these guys out just yet. They might have been just lying in wait. And I'm certain all these playoff contenders know the situation of both Cole Baker and Michael Norman currently being out of this race. As things stand right now, heading into next week, the 4 elimination spots would include Baker, Norman. Right now, the other 2 spots would be filled by Zach Rogers, who's right now in 23rd. And I believe Carson Gum would be the other one. Well, maybe it might be Ryan Acosta. These guys right here, they're battling for 5th in the point standings right now. Back up to the front, Ryan Butcher with the race lead now. Remember, he led the majority of the race last week, only to finish second to Jose Mills, and it was slower traffic that cost him, and there goes Alexander Rowe! Off the nose of Matt Haas! More playoff contenders involved as Cody Lamas is collected! Chris Dollerton, Jesse Turner, and they're still wrecking further back! The track is blocked up! Casey Nanico, Kyle Matthews, Wyatt Quayle, Johnny Gardner, Jordan Lopez, and others. James Qualls, Jessica Shelton got a piece, as did Matthew Rodriguez. And look who just snuck his way through. It's the second straight week he's snuck through a wreck. That being Zach Rogers. I think Benjamin Miles got a piece of it as well. And Cody Lamas, third playoff contender, involved in a wreck here today. And this caution coming out with nearing 25 laps to go. Rookie Alexander Rowe, rookie Cody Lamas. There's Shelton now coming to pit road as well with crash damage. Jordan Lopez is in. Jack Mitchell, Johnny Gardner on pit lane as well. Jesse Turner there in the 47, all crunched up. Second straight week that he's taken a hard hit. And the field gets thinner. Levi McIntyre just now leaving pit road. And that car's got a lot of damage on the left and rear of that machine. I don't remember seeing him collected up in the wreck. I wonder if he was involved in a separate incident. We'll have to find out. He may have gotten spun down to the inside wall, and we may not have had a caution. So Ryan Butcher leads the way here under our third yellow of the day. We will probably restart nearing the 20 lap to go mark. Let's go back and see what happened for our third yellow flag at Boston International. Here it was, this time on the front straightaway off turn 4. Alexander Rowe trying to give some room there to Ryan Brommer. Well, he gave him plenty of room. Matt Haas just got tight off the exit and came right up into his left rear quarter panel. And just watch this. There's just nowhere for Cody to go. He's committed to his line. 24 comes up the track. Chris Dollerton, who's had a strong car all day, gets collected up in this as well. Jesse Turner, who led some laps early on. And I thought that it was just going to be those 4. But then you watch further back here, they stack up. Benjamin Miles runs into the back of Levi McIntyre. Shelton runs into the back of him. And then they all just start plowing in. Matthew Rodriguez never gets on the brakes. Casey Nanico, Jordan Lopez, Wyatt Quayle. There's where Gardner gets involved. He gets into Derek Hamill, Kyle Matthews. William Brock involved as well. Marcus Sachi, can't tell if he really got any damage. I think he might have gotten through relatively unscathed. And we saw Zach Rogers just sneak his way through. I mean, let's take a look here. Watch where Zach Rogers is. It's like he's literally in the middle of a storm. Watch this. I mean, by all rights and purposes, this car should have had a lot more damage. Gets a little side swipe there from Nanico, not much. Little side swipe from Matthew Rodriguez, not much. 77 spins in front of his nose. 21 nearly hits him on the left side. See further back there, Kyle Matthews hits Lopez, otherwise he probably would have run to the back of Rogers. Zach Rogers, I don't think really got any damage. He got sideswiped a little bit on the right side, but I think that car relatively got through unscathed. That is the second time we've seen him miss a wreck in the past 2 weeks. He squeaked his way through a wreck last week at Arizona as well, and it's stuff like that kind of wreck avoidance that sets you aside as a championship contender. So a big move there for Zach. Well, not even really a big move, just I guess right place, right time. I'm not really sure he had a whole heck of a lot to do with the wreck avoidance there. It was just everybody managed to miss him. But keeps his playoff hopes alive, at least for right now, as we get ready to go back for the green. More cars in the garage area after this one, and they include the following: Alexander Rowe, Cody Lamas, Johnny Gardner, and Jesse Turner. So our third playoff contender behind the wall. Lamas will finish in 35th. So for our restart, it will be Ryan Butcher, the leader, Mitchell Collins second, Dylan Young third, Jose Mills fourth, Ryan Brommer fifth, then Kev Shearer, Matt Haas, who started that wreck, lines up seventh. Austin LaPlante, Chris Dollerton did not come to pit road. He only had a little bit of right side damage from brushing the wall, so he'll restart ninth, and Carson Gum, who narrowly avoided the wreck, will be in 10th. So we've got 3 playoff contenders up here in the top 10. Third place, Dylan Young. Fifth place, Ryan Brommer. And 10th place, Carson Gum. The other 2 playoff contenders, Ryan Acosta restarts in 12th. Zach Rogers going to restart back in 21st. Right now, even though we got through the wreck, Zach Rogers would still be in an elimination spot heading into next week. You've got Kyle Matthews, Jack Mitchell lap down cars on the inside line as Ryan Butcher gets the green flag to get us back underway. Well, Jack Mitchell is definitely off the pace. He and Kyle Matthews both got involved in that wreck as lap down machines. And it looks like Mitchell Collins now in second is going to clear the lap car of Matthews. Now Dylan Young trying to do the same. He has to go around the outside line. That allows Jose Mills to challenge him for third. Matthews still down on the bottom though. Looks like Dylan, well, I thought Dylan might be able to get the run in the corner. Now he goes way wide out of turn 2. That's going to lose him some spots as now Matthews moves up to the top side. Mills going to move by him. So Mills now into third. Fourth place now going to be Kev Shearer, and Ryan Brommer is going to keep Dylan Young boxed up there as we had a spin in the front stretch. Are we under caution? We are. So our 4th caution of the day, we had another spin out of turn 4. And this one might have been Jordan Lopez. It also could have been Wyatt Quayle in the 41, who's got a lot of damage now. And remember, Wyatt Quayle was a contender up front in the first half of this race. Didn't see any playoff contenders involved. There's Carson Gum. There's Ryan Acosta. Where's the 6? There he is. He's got some cars ahead of him with some damage. Left side damage on Adam Garcia. Left side looks good on Rogers. We'll see if we can see the right side here. We might not get a good camera angle to find out. Right now he's in the 21st position, which is where I think he restarted. But it doesn't look like he's got any damage visibly, so I don't think any of our remaining playoff contenders were involved. Let's go back and see what brought out the caution, as apparently with pit road open, everybody is good to go on fuel. Nobody hit pit lane this time. We saw how off the pace Jack Mitchell was on that restart, and looks like he just held up these guys coming off turn 4. Vince Almriego is going to get him in the left rear quarter panel. And he's going to spin him back up the racetrack, and he's going to get Charles Sanford there. Matt McIntyre gets slapped right there. That's where Adam Garcia got his damage. He gets put up into the wall. Right in front of Zach Rogers, and again, Zach Rogers avoids. But if we rewind, you may not have seen, watch the back of the pack here, and you will see Matthew Rodriguez in the 57. Wyatt Quayle already has front-end damage, so I'm not exactly sure where that came from. Unless he got it from the last incident on the front straightaway. But watch right here, everybody stacked up again, trying to slow down. And I think Matthew Rodriguez is going to get a shot from behind by Casey Nanico. That shoots him up into Wyatt Quayle. So that's how the 77 and the 57 got their damage. But like I said, Wyatt Quayle had that front-end damage earlier on. And I don't really remember where that came from. I don't remember if he got involved in the third yellow or not. But that's what brings out the caution here for the fourth time today, and now sets us up for a restart with less than 20 to go. Nobody out of the race after that incident. 1 to green has been given. We are restarting with less than 20 to go, but not less than 10 to go, so the 2 lap cars of Matthews and Mitchell will still be on that inside line. Let's give you as full a field rundown as we can. Ryan Butcher's the race leader, Mitchell Collins second, Jose Mills third, Kev Shearer, great run here today for that 25 car as he's in fourth. Fifth place is Ryan Brommer. He is your highest running playoff driver. Then playoff contender Dylan Young runs in sixth. Matt Haas is seventh. Austin LaPlante eighth. Ninth is Chris Dollerton. Trey Wright will complete your top 10. Then playoff contenders Carson Gum and Ryan Acosta are 11th and 12th. Keith Batson runs 13th. 14th, Sebastian Kukulon. 15th is Benjamin Miles. 16th, Charles Samper, though we know he's got a little bit of front-end damage from that last incident. 17th is Vince Almriego. 18th, Benny Watson. 19th is Matt McIntyre. And completing your top 10 is Adam Garcia. Zach Rogers back in 21st. 22nd is Derek Hamill. Remember, he got spun out. It didn't bring out a caution. He stayed on the lead lap, so he's still running and has a shot to get up into the top 20. Then you got James Qualls 23rd, 24th, Marcus Sachi, 25th is Wyatt Quayle, 26th, William Brock, 27th, Matthew Rodriguez, 28th, Levi McIntyre, 29th, Casey Nanico, 30th, Jordan Lopez. He'll now drop back to 31st as Shelton moves into the 30th spot. Green flag back in the air with 16 laps to go here at Boston. And this time, looks like Kyle Matthews will not be holding up anybody. He's going to get kicked to the high side very quickly. Collins going to get by him. Ooh, a little tight off that corner there as they were 3 wide. Matthews way up top. Mills in the middle. Kev Shearer way down on the bottom. Looks like for now, the lap machine's getting out of the way. Jack Mitchell back here still holding these guys up, though. Trying to find a place that's safe, but there's really no place safe here. They're going to be stacked up 3 wide behind him, so let's watch this off turn 4. Ooh, Levi McIntyre almost off the nose of William Brock as they were almost 4 wide coming off turn 4. It's going to be tight off turn 2 here as well. Just want to make sure that nobody's going to wreck anybody. Looks like they're all going to get through relatively unscathed, so let's move back up to the front. Zach Rogers now up to 16th after restarting 21st. That's the car he's gunning for right now because where Ryan Acosta's running, he would be 4th of the playoff contenders going into next week. Rogers would be 5th in an elimination spot. At this point, 6th, 7th, and 8th right now designated for Cody Lamas, Michael Norman, and Cole Baker, who have all retired from this race after being involved in different incidents. Up front, 2-car tango for the lead. Ryan Butcher in the 78, Mitchell Collins in the 22. Butcher has a win this year at Coca-Cola Superspeedway. Collins hasn't won since Kansas of last year. And right now, he is a little bit faster with the 8 of the draft than the 78. Battle is on for 3rd. Dylan Young has it. Jose Mills, last week's winner, wants it. Ryan Brommer right there in the vicinity as well. And one thing I would be a little bit worried about, I know that we've got about 11 laps to go, 10 and a half now, but I'd be a little worried about that 0-1 of Jack Mitchell if maybe they might end up catching him. And remember, slower lap machines were the bane of Ryan Butcher's existence last week at Arizona. First car they would actually catch would be Jordan Lopez. He's going into 3 now. The leaders just exited turn 2. They will probably catch him. And correct me if I'm wrong, Jordan Lopez was one of the drivers that last week held Ryan Butcher up. It was him, Johnny Gardner, and Matt McIntyre, but I guess we're not going to have to worry about that. Caution is out for the 5th time today. And that's going to bring everybody back in the vicinity for a potential battle for this win. It also is going to take the lap machines out of commission as far as holding up these race leaders, because we're going to get this restart with less than 10 to go. When the leaders hit the line at last time by, it was 9 laps remaining. Looks like an incident this time in turn 3. And it involved another playoff contender in Zach Rogers. Matthew Rodriguez was in it as well, James Qualls, Derek Hamill, and another playoff driver in Dylan Young. Levi McIntyre, our pole sitter, was in it. Benjamin Miles was involved. William Brock's come into pit road. A lot of damage on his machine. He's out of the race. Keith Batson was involved as well. And a lot more damage on the Cheez-It Ford of Adam Garcia. I believe Matt McIntyre also was collected up in this one. So that brings the grand total up to 5 playoff contenders that will probably finish out of this race. Which means huge points days for Ryan Brommer, as well as Ryan Acosta and Carson Gum, provided they make it back to the checkered flag. Let's take a look and see what happened. My guess is it was an incident on the back straightaway and then up into turn 3 again. Our 5th caution of the day here at Boston to set us up for a shootout here at the end. I have a feeling Dylan Young's not going to be very happy after this one. This was a battle for around the 5th position. Matt Haas, 2nd time he has turned someone today. He turned Alexander Rowe out of turn 4. And this time he turns Jose Mills into Dylan Young. Little contact there for Carson Gum, so he didn't get through unscathed. And then this is where the problem is. The field was pretty well spread out. The 2's going to come back down the banking. Nowhere for James Qualls to go. That is a hard hit. There's Benjamin Miles, Charles Sanford, Zach Rogers, nowhere to go. He was committed to the top side. And I don't think it's over. I think there's more drivers that are going to come into view here in just a moment. There's Jessica Shelton just getting through, but there's Levi McIntyre underneath the 2. Look at Zach Rogers up in the air. Matthew Rodriguez up in the air. Levi is barrel rolling. Matt Rod is barrel rolling. Matt McIntyre's in it. Keith Batson's in it. And they were stacked up ahead of them as well. And look at this. Oh my goodness. It's a junkyard in turn 4. Let's take another camera angle of that. Those were some hard shots being taken right there. And 2 more playoff contenders, Zach Rogers and Dylan Young, collected up in this one. This will give us a really good view here. Going down the back straightaway. Watch the 8 of Matt Haas. Just goes up into the left rear of Jose Mills. Down, and that little contact into the right rear of Dylan Young sends him around. I'd be a little concerned about that right front contact for Carson Gum. I don't know if he goes up and brushes the wall or not either. Chris Dollerton had to get on the brakes to avoid running over the 98, and then just watch this. Just watch the hits. There's 1. There's 2. There's 3. And it's not over. Watch the 99 of Levi McIntyre go underneath the 2 car right here. There's 4. There's 5. There's 6 as Adam Garcia goes up under the 57. And then Matt McIntyre into the upside down Ford of Levi. Garcia got shot up the track into James Qualls. And those are some hard hits taken. You can see over there in the back there, the 2 and the 6. Playoff contenders involved in this one. And you know who's got to really be liking that? That's probably the drivers Lamas, Norman, and Baker in the garage area. Because that means these drivers that are retiring are going to be in their points vicinity heading into next week. It makes their task a little less daunting, with more playoff contenders having issues here today as well. But we're setting up for a less than 10 to go restart. Don't know how many laps there's going to be, but let's go back now and finish this race, hopefully under green. So we will be restarting with 5 laps to go. Hopefully these 5 laps will be run under green flag conditions. It'll be a single file restart. All the lap machines, which right now I believe are just Kyle Matthews and Jack Mitchell, will be mixed in with the lead lap cars. And so we will hopefully have it be clean all the way to the end. Ryan Butcher trying to get redemption for last week when he dominated the Arizona race but failed to lead the last 3 laps because of slower machines. There are going to be 22 cars to finish this race on the lead lap. Derek Hamill, Kyle Matthews, and Jack Mitchell are a lap down. They'll all leave with top 25s. As out of the race after what we saw, William Brock, Sebastian Kukulon, Benjamin Miles. Zach Rogers will finish the race 29th. Qualls out of the race. Dylan Young will finish officially in 31st. Levi McIntyre and Matthew Rodriguez out of the race as well. So it will be good points days for Ryan Brummer, Ryan Acosta, and Carson Gum potentially. Green flag in the air, 5 laps to go, and Butcher was on the gas, and he's going to pull away a little bit from Mitchell Collins. So now what Butcher wants, he wants to see them double wide in his mirror. Collins in the Ford. Brummer in the Dodge. Both get a good run there into turn 3. Here comes Collins looking for the race lead on Ryan Butcher. He doesn't want to let another one get away. Trey Wright, who's had top 10 runs the last 2 weeks. Matt Haas, who's been really aggressive today. He's hooked 2 race cars so far in this event. Alexander Rowe out of turn 4. Jose Mills, the last caution, out of turn 2. Battle on for second now. Brummer trying to get all the points he can now, as he will look like he will be the points leader in the playoff standings heading into next week. Butcher hits the line. There are 3 laps to go. Collins hangs on for second. Meanwhile, you drop a little bit further back here. You got Ryan Acosta trying to get by Kev Shearer. That is for 8th. Strike that. I believe that's actually for 7th place. Carson Gum just outside the top 10 right now in the 11th spot. So all 3 of the remaining playoff contenders up near the top 10. 2 laps to go for Ryan Butcher. Ryan trying to get his 2nd win of the season. 3rd of his career. Collins trying to get his 1st win of the season and 2nd of his career. Had to give way a little bit there in the entrance to turn 3, but might be able to make it up here out of turn 4. Both cars will see the white flag this time by. 1 lap to go. We will race back to the checkers regardless of what happens. Collins all over the back bumper of Ryan Butcher. Tries to drive it a little bit lower. Can he get to the left rear quarter panel out of 2? He's there! Now can Butcher pinch him down? Collins going to drive it in deep. Can he get there? Oh, he had to lift. Got tight in the center of the corner. Ryan Butcher out of turn 4. Redemption for last week. Ryan Butcher is going to win at Boston International. The playoffs begin, and Ryan Butcher, all of a sudden, you can't seem to stop him. He won the season, or the playoff opener at Coca-Cola. He's worked his way from outside the top 30 up to 26th in points, and today gets his 2nd win of the season. And definitely sweet redemption for last week. You gotta think. Last week at Arizona, he led 45 of the 67 laps, only to lose it with 3 laps to go. Here today, he was not going to let another one slip away. And Ryan Brummer will finish 3rd, Ryan Acosta will finish 6th, and Carson Gum will finish 11th. All 3 of those drivers will have a nice, comfy cushion, points-wise, heading into next week at the wild card race, really, of this round, Armory Digital Super Speedway. So Auto Junction Racing will get their 3rd win of the season as a newly formed team. 2nd of the season for Ryan Butcher. 3rd of his career. He holds off Collins, who will have to settle for 2nd. Brummer in 3rd. Trey Wright. Believe this is back-to-back-to-back top 10 finishes for the 28 team. Just think of what would have happened if he had been able to make it past the round of 16 and get into the round of 12. He probably would be one of the drivers we'd be talking about as a favorite to maybe win the championship. Matt Haas will finish in 5th, though I think he probably made a few enemies today. Ryan Acosta will finish 6th, so he will be 2nd in the playoff standings. After this one, Austin LaPlante brings it home in 8th. Kev Shearer ties the 25's best finish of this playoffs, finishing in 8th place. Benny Watson gets up there to 9th. He's had a struggling last couple of weeks, so nice to see him back in the top 10. And Jose Mills, 1 week after getting his 2nd win of the season, will complete the top 10. Carson Gum finishes 11th. Chris Dollerton nearly had that thing wrecked on the front straightaway. Got clipped, I believe it was in our 5th caution, but he managed to keep going, and he finishes the day out in 12th place. Marcus Sachi, great run for him in 13th. How about Jessica Shelton? She had damage from an earlier incident, managed to get a top 15 in 14th, and Vince Almriego is going to finish the day out in the 15th position. Rest of your top 20 were Matt McIntyre, Wyatt Quayle, Keith Batson, Adam Garcia, and Charles Sanford. 22 cars finished on the lead lap. Casey Nanico and Jordan Lopez were the last of those. 3 cars, 1 lap down. Kyle Matthews, Derek Hamill, and Jack Mitchell. Matthews and Mitchell were due to incidents that took place on pit road. Then the big story down here, the drivers that retired out of the race. And the notables are your playoff contenders. Zach Rogers, 29th. Dylan Young, 31st. Cody Lamas, 35th. Michael Norman, 39th. And Cole Baker in 40th. So right now, not counting the bonus points that Cody Lamas and Dylan Young would have had for leading laps, the gap from 4th through 8th in the point standings is going to be somewhere in the vicinity of 11 points. That is really, really close. So we're going to have ourselves a heck of a battle of drivers that DNF'd here today, trying to get themselves back up into the top 4 in the standings at next week's Superspeedway Armory Digital. But, as I stated, Ryan Brommer, Ryan Acosta, and Carson Gum, maybe, just maybe, if they can come away with top 10 runs next week as well, they could maybe lock themselves up spots into the final 4, regardless of what happens at Rockingham. It is possible to mathematically do that, especially with the fact that the 3 of them finished up in the top 15. The other 5 competitors finished outside the top 25. But we'll have to cross that bridge when we come to it. Hope you guys enjoyed today's race here from Boston. If you did, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe to become part of the crew today. We have shown you full feature results. These are what your point standings and your playoff points look like heading into next week at Armory Digital Superspeedway. We saw Coca-Cola Superspeedway play a huge factor in its Duracell Cup Series schedule debut. What will Armory do? We're going to have to wait and find out. Until then, I've been Seth Cole. You've been watching a production of the SRA Offline Racing. At its best, Ryan Butcher takes the checkered flag for the 2nd time this season, here today at Boston.